What's happening? It's your girl Mercedes Eileen. Welcome to my channel. As you can see from the title, today's video is about how I've been affected by narcissistic abuse. First, we have to talk about what narcissistic abuse is. Narcissistic abuse is emotional abuse in the form of put downs, accusations, criticisms, and threats. Manipulative techniques used by narcissists are silent treatment, isolation, and lying about you to others. And those are just a few. It's like a bunch more. But what you must understand about a narcissist is that their end goal is to control their victim's behavior in maintaining their supply. So you may ask,
their supply of what?
Narcissistic supply refers to a constant supply of admiration and attention. Narcissists need this to fuel their entitlement and self-centeredness. A lot of times a narcissist will use their fake self to lure people in. This can be through charm, because most narcissists are very charming. My father is actually narcissistic as fuck, and he's charming. Like, he's a very likable person. He can be generous, he can be sweet, he can do nice things, he can be thoughtful sometimes even. I know another narcissist that I'm close to who's not really thoughtful, but he can be generous and, you know, things of that nature. They have a false self that they present to people, but in reality, this false self is just kept up to put on a good face so that they can look like a good person. And they want to look like a good person because they need validation from others. No, but truly, narcissists do this because they actually subconsciously have a very low self-esteem. One thing that I notice about narcissists is that usually their fathers are absent or inconsistent in their lives. Every narcissist that I know has an absent or inconsistent father, especially when they were a child. Like, through their developing years from like 0 to 7, their father was not in their life at all. Even my abuser was that way, and then he got older and his father was just inconsistent. Also, what I have noticed about the narcissists that I know is that their mother was emotionally unavailable. My father, his mother was emotionally unavailable in the sense of she was depressed all the time. So his emotions didn't really matter because she was depressed. Like, there was never any talk of emotions. The other person I know, their mother was emotionally unavailable just because she's emotionally unavailable. My abuser was physically, emotionally, and mentally abused by his mother with an absent father. So these are just recipes for narcissists. Oh my God. Those are just some of the observations that I've made about the narcissists that I know. Now, my abuser, I don't know for sure if he is just an outright narcissist. He definitely abused me in a narcissistic way. I think that maybe some of his techniques were learned because I believe that he was raised by a narcissistic mother. But you know, it could go any way. There's so many possibilities. Like, I'm not a doctor and I really don't know shit. But what I do know is that I was narcissistically abused, girl, because these symptoms is given what happened to me. Most of the narcissistic abuse that I was a victim of was just threats and put downs. And I guess you could say criticisms, kinda. If you haven't watched my previous videos, in a nutshell, I was 3 months pregnant and I was with my abuser romantically. And he was really nice and generous, and he did everything that I needed him to do. He was supporting me, even my mental health, he was supporting me. Because I was really struggling because I have bipolar disorder, and you know, when you get pregnant, your hormones go out of whack, and I couldn't take the medicine that I was taking before I was pregnant. So the girls were suffering. Like, I was really going through it, and he was helping me a lot. And you know, I really appreciated it. It was just a good time. And then I caught him cheating on me, and he tried to gaslight me with that and tried to lie about it, but I just knew deep down, like in my gut, because you know I'm an empathic ass bitch. I knew deep down that he was cheating, and he finally admitted to it. We had a conversation, and he was like, you know, when I try to manipulate you and you call me out on it, it pisses me off, because I know I study psychological shit a lot, and I know what manipulation looks like. I do not want you to get that confused with abuse, because I don't know what abuse looks like. If I did, I would not have gotten abused. Like, I wouldn't have even put myself in that situation to be abused. But I do know what manipulation looks like. And a lot of times my abuser would try to manipulate me and it wouldn't work. And he told me out of his own mouth that it would piss him off. And so after that point, when he realized that he could not manipulate me in the way that he would others, he started to be, I don't want to just say meaner, because that's not really the word for it. He just became even more intensely manipulative. Like, his manipulation tactics became a lot more solid and stronger and more intense. Does that make sense? He started putting me down, telling me that I was a bad person, telling me that I ruined his life and I'm the reason that he couldn't follow his dreams and this and that, which really, I think he's more resentful towards the fact that he got me pregnant, possibly. This affected me in multiple ways. If you've ever been abused by a narcissist, go ahead and comment down below your experience. I really want to talk about it and make a safe space for people who have this problem, because it's a lot more common than we think. A lot of times you don't even know that you're being abused until you've gotten out of the situation. Or even if you do know that you're abused, it doesn't actually help you get out of the situation. So if you want to talk about it and share your story down below, go ahead and do that. I would really appreciate it. And I will for sure comment back, because I love these type of conversations. We really need to have more of them. So I made a list, and I can only come up with really 7 ways that this abuse affected me. We're gonna get into it. The first way that I remember this abuse affected me was me being a lot more depressed than I started out, because again, I have bipolar disorder, so I was already kind of depressed anyway. I was very nauseated, and it was affecting my body.
Mind you, I was pregnant. I don't know if I said that. I'm pregnant. Girl, I'm 38 weeks pregnant today. Anyway, we're off topic.
I was depressed before I was abused, but it just intensified the depression. Like, it pushed me to a unaliving myself point. Does that make sense? It was very hard for me, because I've never I'm so sorry about the airplane in the back, but I've never been just flat out put down by someone. And that was the first time that had ever happened to me. Just being completely disrespected and disregarded. I didn't know it at the time, but I was disregarded because I was not a good supply. I had people pleasing tendencies, but I'm not a people pleaser. And usually narcissists tend to be with people pleasers. Like I said, I have tendencies. I'm very devoted and very flexible when it comes to someone that I like or love, but I know the difference between manipulation and, regular communication, if that makes sense. He realized that I was not a good supply, so then he started the process of discarding me. And this is something that narcissists do when they cannot manipulate you. Like, literally, that's what they do. Every narcissist that I know literally leaves the scene. Like, as soon as they're found out, when they know that they're found out and they're being read, they will evacuate, because they can't thrive in that environment. So he started the process of discarding me, and he started putting me down and making threats about taking my child away because of the suicidal episode that he caused. He threatened to take my child away from me, which really hurt me a lot, and I still have anxiety about it to this day. And that's the second thing that happened from me being abused. I became afraid of him. I still might be afraid of him. I haven't really had to face him, because my abuser stays out of state, thank God. So I don't have to face him a lot, but I don't know if that might change in the future, but I'm definitely working on it. I became very afraid of him, because he knew exactly how to threaten me, what to say, and he knew what would hit home in order for me to be triggered, and that was always his goal. Another conversation that me and my abuser had before he abused me was that he liked to push people's buttons. He likes to see how far he can take it before people crumble. And that's a really big red flag. I did not know it at the time because I wasn't taking it so serious. Like, I'm just taking it like, oh, you know, he likes to hit people on the head and see if they're gonna hit him back. Like, no. A lot of times, and this is also a red flag that I didn't realize until afterwards, and he would say things that he knew would make me upset, and then when I would get upset, he would laugh about it. And then I would tell him, like, no, like, this really makes me upset. Like, you're really scaring me. I don't like when you do that. And he would constantly do it. Like, he would do it anyway. I knew that it wasn't good, but I didn't know that it would affect me in the long run. But I definitely see that now. So if somebody purposely upsets you just to see your reaction and they get a kick out of it, that is a red flag. Because that person likes seeing you in distress. That is what that should tell you. And this further came out in the abuse that he later inflicted upon me. The third thing that happened after the narcissistic abuse is I developed severe trust issues. I have a very hard time believing what people say. I'm very paranoid. I don't go out as much. I don't really like the idea of meeting new people just because my trust issues are so severe and deep. And this happened because I was lied to a lot. He love bombed me at the beginning of our relationship, and he badmouthed his ex, which is something else that narcissists usually do. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be their ex. It could just be someone that they resent. Like they victimize themselves in situations a lot. They don't take accountability for the things that they do. The fact that he was one person at first and then another person at the blink of a fucking eye really made me look at people differently, because a person can act like something that they're not. Like, I knew that people could do that before, but I didn't know that it could be like it was. Like, he completely flipped the script on my ass. Like, he was nice. I love you. I'm doing this for you and my baby. Like, because I had broken up with him because he was cheating on me. And he was just like, I'm doing this for you and my baby. And then, like, the next day he was like, yeah, fuck you. You're not a good person. You ruined my life. Like, and I don't know whether it was someone in his ear, as in like a family member or something, or if it was because he started dating the person that he was cheating on me with, or whoever he was dating. I'm pretty sure that when he started abusing me is when he started dating someone else, because he had a new supply, so he didn't need me anymore. So he was trying to discard of me. Yeah, I have really deep trust issues. It's hard for me to take people for what they show me, because a person could be showing you something that's not real. A person can act one way but really be another way. And I never experienced that until my ex, my abuser. The fourth thing that I've noticed in the aftermath of narcissistic abuse is having an increased level of insecurity. I've never been so insecure in my life as when I was being abused. Everything that he told me, I believed. Everything that he said, I believed. When he told me that I ruined his life, I believed him. When he told me that I was a fucked up person, I believed him. In attempts to stop me from talking to or messing with other people, he tried to pregnancy shame me. Is that a thing? It was basically like he was trying to make me feel bad if I were to pursue other relationships while I was pregnant.
All while assuring me that he was not going to turn down any sex, any relationships, and that he could do what he pleased. But if I did anything, then he would never talk to me again.
He made me feel bad about that, and it worked. That made it really hard for me to go out anymore. It made me really insecure about being pregnant in general, because, you know, like, who would want to talk to a pregnant person? Which is kind of true, but I don't know, like, it just made me really, really insecure. And I'm still working on getting my security back, but I mean, that along with my trust issues makes it really, really less likely that I'll just be meeting a bunch of new people anytime soon, but we'll see. The fifth part of the aftermath of being narcissistically abused was nightmares. I would have nightmares about my ex and wake up in pools of sweat. I would have nightmares about him cheating on me. I would have nightmares about him like pushing my buttons and triggering me, like the shit that I was telling you that he would do, making me upset and then laughing about it and getting a kick out of it. I would have dreams about that. I even had a dream one time that he was trying to unalive me. Like, I literally was haunted by that whole situation. I was haunted by him because now in my mind, he's a monster. Like, he's not a regular person anymore. So I think that's a lot of where the fear comes from. I consciously know that he's a regular person, but subconsciously, because of the way that I was abused and the way that he treated me, I perceive him to be a monster or something that can hurt me. I'm very, very paranoid about that. And I know I said 7, but I actually have 6. So yeah, this number 6. Easily being triggered by similar situations. By this, I mean, for instance, I know a person that has done to others what was done to me. They are not my abuser. I'm actually I'm not close to them, but I'm close to them. Does that make sense? I lost so much respect for them after I went through what I went through, because now I know how it feels to be abandoned and discarded and just treated like shit when you're pregnant. I think that the worst type of people do that. This person triggers me. When I'm around this person, they trigger me. When I hear this person's voice, they trigger me. Just like when I hear my abuser's voice. Well, I haven't heard his voice, but if I did, it might trigger me. If I were to see my abuser, it would trigger me. If I were to have to be around my abuser, it would trigger me. That stuff triggers me because what I went through a few months ago and what I'm still going through now, I would never even wish on my worst enemy. Because what happens is, you would think that after all of this, after everything that I just told you, after the ways that this person affected me, you would think that I would hate their fucking guts, that I would just hate them. I mean, there's really no other way to explain it, but I really don't. And I kind of resent myself for that. Like, I want to hate this person, but I really don't have it in my heart to hate anybody. Like, I'm not a hating ass bitch. I want to hate my abuser, but I don't. Sometimes I still feel guilty for being abused. Sometimes I still feel like it's my fault that my abuser abused me. Abuse all across the board, physical, mental, emotional. It warps the way that you think. It distorts your perception of things. I am very broken and very scarred from being abused. And I'm paranoid about it. I'm scared because my abuser might be my baby daddy. And I might have to deal with him in the future. I might have to face him in the future. Yes, I'm scared. And part of me was, this is a cinematic, that's why it look different. If it looks different, that's why it's cinematic. But part of me was scared to even make this video because my abuser threatened to take my child away from me. A part of being abused is that you don't want to aggravate your abuser. You don't want to piss them off because you don't know what they'll do. You get what I'm saying? It's like a person beating your ass. If you got in a fight with someone and they already beat you up once, you're not going to do anything else to fight them again. Like, you're going to try to avoid as much as you can to not fight them again. You get what I'm saying? So that's kind of my situation. And so posting this video, I probably will have anxiety about it, but I just came to the conclusion that I can't do things out of fear. I can't let such a fucked up person stop me from doing what I feel like I need to be doing. And I really felt like I needed to make this video because I feel like there are other people out there going through things that I went through. And I didn't even suffer from the narcissistic abuse that long. It was literally probably like a month, a solid month that I went through it. And it was the worst thing that has ever happened to me. So I could only imagine years of narcissistic abuse. And my heart really goes out to anyone that is going through it, that has been through it, that will go through it in the future, because it's not a game. Like it's the worst feeling I've ever felt. So, you know, going through that for a long period of time, I can only imagine. But now that I know what it looks like, in the future, I can avoid it, and I can avoid people like that. I do worry about protecting my daughter from it, especially if my abuser is her father. Because there's only so much I can do. Like, you can't say a person is an unfit parent because they're narcissistic. Like, that doesn't hold up in court. So, you know, the best thing I can do is just do what I can from where I'm at. And, you know, it is what it is. I don't really know what else to say. But if you like this video, again, like, comment your experience, and be back for my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Be blessed.